Welcome everyone. This is Brother Doug with my sister Shoshana, her son Sean joining us for the first time, my brother Dennis, and my sister Sally. And we are going to be going to the book of Enoch. Any of you guys that have seen any of our previous videos from the Awakened by Yahuwah Fellowship group, we're almost done with Enoch, but we're going to restart it tonight. So if any of you guys are new, then you'll be tuning in for the first time. Just a little bit of precedence why we are going to read the book of Enoch and why it's relevant to today. Even in your modern Christian translations of the canon actually endorse this book. So we're going to be just doing a couple of cross references real quick. And so the first one we're going to do is you're going to turn with me to Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 to 4. I'm going to put this on the share screen so the viewers can see where I'm reading from. And here we go. So I like reading from the Septuagint because it's probably the oldest and closest to the original Tanakh that you'll find, which is the Hebrew word for the Old Testament. So here we go. And it says from the Breton Septuagint, and Yahuwah Elohim said, actually, let me go to verse 1 and start at verse 1. And Noah was 500 years old, and he begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to pass when man began to be...
That's not...
What happened? That's not Genesis 6:1?
No, you started in Genesis 5:32. That's okay.
Oh, okay. I guess they have a different order. All right. Let me go to the Masoretic text then. All right. So Genesis 6:1. All right. Let me restart here. Okay. So, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Yahuwah saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahuwah said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Yahuwah came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became the mighty men which were of old, the men of renown. And interestingly enough, the modern translations will actually say the heroes of old. So the heroes of Greek mythology were the Nephilim, the giants. So basically, this is 2 different kinds, 2 different species intermingling. You have the sons of Elohim, the sons of Yahuwah, who are angels. If you look all over the Old Testament, like the book of Job, they're always described as angels, not humans. So an angel coming into a human woman. So that's just one reference to the book of Enoch we have. Now the next one will be 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4, and we're also going to read verse 6. All right, so let me just get there real quick. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4, we're going to start at. Let me see here. All right. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 says, if Yahuwah spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell or Tartarus, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the wicked. So that's 2 Peter 2, 4-5, and we're going to read one more verse from this chapter, verse 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that are after should live wicked. So basically, 2 Peter 2, 4-6 is showing that Yahuwah did not spare the angels that sinned. So these Now, obviously, if he's referring them to the time frame of Noah, these can't be the 1/3 that fell with Satan, but that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother study. But so basically, this is alluding to the watchers in the book of Enoch, which we're about to read about. And this 2 Peter 2:4 connects perfectly with Genesis 6:1-4. So now we are going to go to the book of Jude. And there's only one chapter, so Jude 1:6-7 says, "And the angels which kept not their first estate," meaning their first habitation, their home in heaven, "but left their own habitation, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." Verse 7 says, "Even as Sodom and Gomorrah." So he's comparing them to Sodom and Gomorrah. They have something in common. "And the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire." So that was Jude 1:6-7. We have one more cross-reference. We're going to stay in Jude. We're going to go down to verse 14. And it says, "And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, Yahuwah comes with 10,000s of his set-apart ones, to execute judgment upon all, and convince all that are wicked among them of all their wicked deeds, which they have wickedly committed, and of all their hard speeches which wicked sinners have spoken against him." So Jude 1:14 is actually directly quoting from the book of Enoch, the first chapter. So we're about to read that. So just to give you guys kind of a precedent why we should be reading this, because the scriptures actually quote from it. And it was in the Ethiopian canon. So you guys should look that up, viewers, if you want to look that up. So we're about to read the book of Enoch right now. I'm going to open my PDF right now, which I have right up here. We are going to start at chapter 1. So I think I'll start us off here. And let me just get this on the share screen. Here we go. Chapter 1, Watchers. Now, this Watchers is a class of angel you can actually find in the book of Daniel. So I just want to give a little background on that. A Watcher is a certain class of angel. "The words of the Baraka of Hanok, Enoch, with which he baraked the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation," the great tribulation it's alluding to, "when all the wicked and unrighteous are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Hanok, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by Yahuwah, saw the vision of the Kadash one in the Shamayim, the heavens, which the Malachim, the angels, showed me. And from them I heard all matters, and from them I understood as I saw. But not for this generation, but for a distant one which is to come. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Kadash, great one, will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal Elohim will tread upon earth on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might, from the heaven of heavens, the Shamayim of Shamayim. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake. And great fear and trembling shall seize them upon the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. And the earth shall be completely torn in pieces, and all that is upon the earth shall perish. And there shall be a judgment upon all. But the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and compassion shall upon them, and they shall all belong to Yahuwah, and they shall be prospered, and they shall all be Baruch, and he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. And see, he comes with 10,000s of his set-apart ones to execute judgment upon all. So verse 9 here is where we just read from the book of Jude 1:14-15, Enoch 1:9. Direct quote. thousands of his set apart ones to execute judgment upon all and to destroy all the wicked and to convict all flesh of all the works of their wickedness which they have committed wickedly, and of all the harsh matters which wicked transgressors, sinners, have spoken against him. So that was the end of chapter 1, a pretty quick chapter here. Before I give one of our brothers and sisters a chance to read chapter 2, let's talk about what we read. So basically a warning, very short, to the point warning that he's going to repay the watchers for what they have done. Now, I wonder if this is just for that time frame or if this is going to happen when the bottomless pit opens up, just something I was thinking about. If this is kind of like a double prophecy.
Well, it's prophesying for the watchers and for the people of Earth. So if that's what you mean by double prophecy.
Oh, I just meant like double prophecy, kind of like it happened once, it's going to happen again. Like Yahuwah, chained them in Tartarus, so now they're reserved for the end times when he's going to execute his wrath on them. So I was just wondering the timeline when this is actually getting fulfilled, I guess was my question.
Okay, probably what I get out of this as far as what happens with the watchers, I think they're going to come back. I think their time limit, he gives them, what is it, 70 generations in the whole, and then they will come back and persecute this final generation, I believe, before they're put out of their misery.
All right. So, Brother Dennis,
I will say.
Brother Dennis, Sister Sally, you got anything to add?
Not right now.
Okay.
Well, we are told in Scripture. We're told in Scripture too that Sodom and Gomorrah would have repented, but he used them for an example.
All right. Well, let's see. Who wants to read? Well, actually, we'll wait. All right. I wanted to make sure everyone was here. Okay. Who wants to read chapter 2?
I'll go for it.
All right.
So does anybody have anything else to say for us?
I'm good.
Okay. Observe you everything that takes place in Shemayim, the heavens, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries are in the heavens. Shemayim. I hear some kind of background noise. I'm sorry.
I think it might be coming from because I had everyone else muted, so I don't know what's going on. I had myself muted and everyone else but you.
All right. Well, maybe I'll back away from the mic.
Get out.
Okay. I'm going to start over. Observe you everything that takes place in Shemayim, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries, which are in Shemayim, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not their appointed order. Behold you the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it, from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of Yahuwah appear to you. Behold the summer and winter, how the whole earth is filled with water and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it. I seem to have a mic echo tonight. Usually don't. Okay, does anybody have any comments? To me, he's just saying, look at the way things go on as they have always gone on. How the heavens move in their places, and the luminaries, which are the stars, and the sun and the moon, and they have an order to them. And the earth does not change, or is not supposed to change, because it has an order to it. And in the way of Yahuwah, in his works, they should be according to a certain order. And the summer and the winter, that continues back and forth. And it will be until the end of the age that all these things continue. So then I'm going too far. Anybody have anything else to say? Doug, are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to be away for a second. So yeah, I had everyone else muted while you were reading, so I just unmuted everyone if they want to add anything. From what I heard, it sounded a lot like pretty much Yahuwah's, calendar, with all the orbits and stuff like that. So it kind of gives us a real idea of what the true cosmos is. The fact that wandering stars have their orbits, and we've been taught planets are basically that planets are these gas balls, but yet Enoch shows that these malachim, these angels, are stars, are luminaries, and they have orbits. So when you see stars in the sky, you're seeing an angel. That's what angels are. They're stars. So to understand that,
A big gas ball.
what you're seeing in the sky is actually a malachim. Each little bright light in the sky at nighttime is one of Yahuwah's malachim, one of his sons, the sons of Elohim. So to understand that and to read what you just read, it makes a lot of sense what Enoch's saying. So I found that pretty interesting, and the fact that wandering stars alludes to that they wouldn't stay in their own orbits.
Yeah.
I think it kind of makes sense what Jude is talking about. So that's all I have to say, and I think this alludes to the calendar too. Well, once we get far enough in Enoch, you'll see how the orbiting of the stars reflects the calendar, reflects the seasons. What we know as fall and summer and winter and all that, and the appointed times of Yahuwah and all that.
Yes, the creation revolves around the earth.
And there's a definite order to everything that is not supposed to be broken.
And I wonder how many people have actually seen a star move around, not obeying its position.
I look up there sometimes and it looks like they're moving, but then I'm always like, well, I'd always say they replaced them with those satellites, Remember I'd say, I'd look outside and see one, and then the next night it's over there then, or something like that. those drums.
No. Well, my brother David called me one night, and he told me where to look. And he said there was a star there that would wander around. It would move over, move different position, then move back. So I watched, and sure enough, I saw it. And that's exactly what's happening, the wandering stars that would not stay in their place.
So if you see a shooting star, that's like another angel, fallen angel, pretty much.
Doug, you can
Yeah, it
take
might-
that one. I'm not sure what shooting stars are.
Shooting stars, I would say, yeah, definitely that would be a fallen angel. Like you see in the book of Revelations, Wormwood, where it talks about this fallen angel. This star falls to the ocean and makes the waters bitter. So yeah, I mean that I believe that shooting stars are probably fallen Malachim, and there's a lot of them you see out there. So it's kind of weird how people believe there's only one group, like the 1/3 that Satan cast down with him. They think that's the only group of fallen angels, but there's a lot more than that, as we'll get to see in the book of Enoch. There's other groups of fallen angels other than the 1/3 in Revelations 12.
I know there are certain times of year that they have meteor showers, and I was thinking of falling stars being the same as meteor showers.
I don't know, because like when they fall, it's more of like a fiery fall, when you see a shooting star, it's not like a reddish, it's white, just whew, fast, and you barely see it. But like meteor showers are more like like a falling through the atmosphere. Stars they don't give that off when you see a shooting star. There's not that entering the.
Oh no, I haven't seen that many of them. I've only seen.
I seen a couple. I seen a couple of them just one night sitting out there at the fire pit looking up.
I saw one so-called falling star.
Yeah, that's what
years
I'm talking
ago.
about. Oh, okay. That's
And,
what
it just went.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting. It's an interesting question because we don't really know what goes on up there. Because Yahuwah says there's been war in heaven, and we know the Malachim or angels that have disobeyed Yahuwah have fought against the Malachim that are obeying him. And
once they take down the bad guys, there they go. They got to go somewhere.
Yeah, Revelations 12 actually gives the whole.
All of the stars will fall to earth in the very end.
Yeah, and
can you imagine it big gaseous, big balls of gas that's burning? Can you imagine all those falling to earth? No, but you can imagine Malachim falling to earth.
Yeah. And if you want to find what we're referencing to the war in heaven, Revelations 12, 1-9 talks about that, where Michael and his Malachim fight against Satan and his Malachim, and Satan and his Malachim fall to the earth. And what's interesting about that reference is that that's happening around the same time Yahushua was being born on earth. So many people kind of get the timing of Satan's fall a little bit messed up because through tradition of the church. But if you actually look at Revelations 12, Satan's being cast to the earth around Yahushua being born. And it talks about that the dragon would want to swallow up the man-child that would rule nations with a rod of iron. So I believe personally that Satan fell to the earth around the time Yahushua being born, and he possessed King Herod to try to kill him. And I think that makes the most sense of the timing of Satan's fall. to earth, like his physical fall to earth. Now, obviously, he sinned in the garden, but he was still given access. In the book of Job, you can find Satan's in the throne room of Yahuwah with the other sons of Elohim presenting himself. So he still had access to heaven, even after the garden. He wasn't actually sent to earth until what Revelations 12 alludes to. So that's just my personal opinion. I personally believe that was the timing of him falling to the earth, and it makes the most sense because around that time, Yahusha was with his disciples saying, behold, I saw Satan fall as lightning. To me, that sounds like that's present time, him saying that. That's like it happened when Yahusha was coming to earth.
Yeah.
So, and there's also places where he talks about now the prince of this world has been casted out. I mean, when Yahusha's talking to his disciples, so I mean, there's a lot of hints at Satan falling around his time on earth. Anyway, but yeah, if you have never heard about the war in heaven, I would suggest read Revelations 12. There's a great prophecy that actually the sign in heaven was saw about a year ago, so it's like a double prophecy type of thing. So it's pretty cool.
And the woman flees into the wilderness, and so on and so on.
Which technically Joseph and Mary did flee to a type of wilderness because they fled to Egypt when Herod was after them. So it's like a type of wilderness.
It's mentioned twice. It's mentioned in verse 6, and then it's mentioned again in verse 14. So, yes, Mary fled into the wilderness to protect her newborn son. But also, another woman is going to flee into the wilderness who is given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half time, 3.5 years, from the presence of the serpent. That's away from the presence of Ashtan. So I believe that is the elect, the Kadashim, in this end time.
Yeah.
It gives you the whole scenario. It says Satan spews out his mouth a river of water to cause the woman to be swept away. But the earth helps the woman and opens its mouth and swallows up the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. So the woman is actually preserved in the wilderness for 3.5 years, nourished by Yahweh. That is what I believe. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just in case listeners have, are not completely, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not complete know about prophecy, that prophecy has dual fulfillments a lot of the time. So sometimes you'll see something in Tanakh and it will happen more than once. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're reading stuff like the book of Enoch and Revelations. So anyway, so let's see here. Who wants to read chat? Actually, you know what? We're going to end this part 1 here. We only got a couple minutes left. New viewers, we only have 40-minute intervals of these sessions. So please stay tuned. We will be back soon. So we're going to have to come back in. There's only a minute left. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be back shortly. Shalom. Okay.